Welcome to Vegan Finds, where we're going to turn this into this spaghetti squash Singapore noodles. So tonight's dinner we are going to be making a healthy version of Singapore noodles, and for our noodle portion we are using the spaghetti squash. Now you've seen us use the spaghetti squash a few times in other recipes, and one of the reasons is that it's a great high fiber low calorie squash. It tastes excellent. It's easy to prepare. Basically, cut it down the middle, take out the seeds, throw it onto a baking sheet, pop it in a 400-degree oven for 40 minutes. That should be enough, depending on the size. If it's a little on the small size, take a look at 30 minutes. If it's on the big size, take a look at 40. It might have to go 45. So I'm going to start by taking care of our spaghetti squash, and after that I will show you how to prep all the other ingredients. Okay, so if you're not familiar with cleaning a spaghetti squash, basically this is it. You can use a fork or spoon, doesn't matter. I'm using my knife here because I'm trying to save the seeds. I'm going to try and roast them. The last time I did this I accidentally burnt them because I forgot about the spaghetti squash in the oven. And the one thing about spaghetti squash is you really can't burn it. I mean, I guess if you left it in too long, that could be a problem. But basically, you don't have to worry. It's not something where you go an extra minute or two, you're going to ruin your dish. This is one that is a very forgiving type of squash right here. And basically, that's all you have to do. Get those seeds out, like so, and then flip it over. I'm just going to basically cut this part off. I don't really like the wet stringy part. In the oven it basically will caramelize actually and have a really nice sweet flavor to it, but I don't like touching it. That's the problem. If you watched any of our videos, I often talk about my disdain for touching, I'll say, wet slimy things on the food spectrum. I never like touching ground beef, raw chicken. Even though I used to cook all those things, getting to the cooking part was always the big adventure. So thankfully there's not too much of that in the vegan food realm of really weird slimy things. There are a few items here and there. There's Japanese natto, which I will never go near. That's just too much for me. Just even looking at when people prepare it and put it into dishes, whew, that is more than I can handle. So basically, I'm just almost done here. Let's get the last bit of those seeds out, because again, the seeds are great. If I would suggest that if you are interested in roasting the seeds and you don't want them to burn, is to take a look at about 25 minutes and see how they are. You don't have to do anything else to them. You could put some salt on them afterwards, but that's it. This is going to go into the oven now for about 40 minutes. I will see you shortly. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with Singapore noodles, it's made with a yellow curry base. So we are using a medium yellow curry powder from Savory Spice Shop. They have some really excellent curry powders. Takes a lot of the guesswork out, and if you don't have to make curry powder from scratch, always a good thing. So stick around. I'm going to show you how we're going to put all this together. It goes together real quick. I'm going to start by slicing up our veggies. Okay, so I have my red peppers here, and when you're cutting red peppers, you don't want to do the skin side. Well, it's easier to cut from the flesh sides, and you just basically slicing them into thin strips, because you want these to cook quickly but still retain some bite to them. And that's all you're going to do for that. Basically, that's all you're going to do for most of the vegetables that we have. We're going to be adding some onion. We got some cabbage here. I'm going to take care of that as well, so I'll just do that right now. Just basically core this. This is a savory cabbage, which I bought for another recipe, and God only knows what happened to that. And basically, we're just going to shred this. And this is going to cook down. It's going to add a lot of nutritional power. Cabbage is another one of those really good foods. My little friend is here. He thinks it's the other. I said cabbage, which sounds a lot like cauliflower. So in his mind, what we have is cauliflower here. But I'm going to give him the core. He'll be fine with that. That'll keep him quiet. I'm going to continue to chop the vegetables and get them ready, because once we're ready to cook this, I don't want to be sitting there trying to chop veggies. A lot of times you'll see, because we do real cooking here, this is not, we have no prep chefs, we don't have people helping us, so sometimes we get things a little messed up and we forget to, do something, and we gotta scramble. So it's always best to read the recipe first, then prep all the ingredients. That is probably the best advice I can give you, is read the recipe, prep your ingredients, have them cut, chopped, ready to go, so that way you're not sitting there going, oh my God, I got to do this, while stuff is either cooking or, even worse, burning. So in my pan, I've just added 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. My spaghetti squash is done in the oven, so now it's time to start cooking up the vegetables and getting everything ready to go and finish off this dish. It's going to go quick, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the sesame oil to heat up. It's starting to get there, and I'm going to add our peppers and onions. I sliced up 2 red peppers and 1 medium-sized yellow onion. Those are going to go in the pan. While these are sauteing, I'm going to basically get a garlic clove, mince that up, and that's going to be the next thing that goes in this pan. Okay, so I'm adding our garlic in right now. I'm being a little chintzy. I'm just using our garlic press to add it because I don't feel like chopping. Alright, so that's in. That's going to cook for another minute, and then we're going to add our spices to this. It smells really terrific right now. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of ginger paste. Oh yeah. Woo, that's the ticket. And a tablespoon of our yellow curry powder. Okay, here comes our yellow curry powder. Give that a quick stir. And one question we always get asked by people who are meat eaters, non-vegans, they say, where do you get your protein from? And they're often surprised when I say, you know what? Vegetables have protein. Broccoli, calorie for calorie, has more protein than sirloin steak. Think about that for a second. More protein than sirloin steak, but you never, think about that because you've been programmed to believe that vegetables have no protein. And I'm here to tell you, no vegan has ever died from a lack of protein. Okay, so here comes the protein. I've got a block of tofu. I'm only going to use half of it for this. I'm going to leave the other half for something else. And I'm just going to cut it into decent sized chunks because Doris likes it a bit chunky. It's going to break up a little bit inside the pan because it's not going to get handled with kid gloves. So that's fine. Getting hit with that curry. It's going to make me cough. So I'm going to add that right now to our pan. I'm going to add our cabbage to our pan. We're going to let that cook and absorb some of those flavors right now. You don't have to be gentle. And now really there's two more steps that go into this. And that is adding our sauce, which is a combination of a 1/4 cup of Xiashin Wine, which looks like this, a 1/4 cup of no soy sauce, which looks like that, and a 1/4 cup of water. So now we're going to add in our little liquid here. Give it a stir. We're going to let this cook for 3, 4, 5 minutes, just to let as you can see, the cabbage is now starting to wilt, which is exactly what we want. I probably should have cut the cabbage a little bit smaller, but that's alright. Like I said, we do real cooking here. Mistakes happen. Beautiful. So this is exactly what we want. Now we're going to add our spaghetti squash. So I'll be back in a blink of an eye to finish this off. Okay, so this is what our spaghetti squash looks like when it's cooked. And you can see it comes off in these stringy noodles like texture. We're just going to add that to our pan. This has been sitting out for probably 15 minutes and it's still blistering hot, so be careful. That's why I'm wearing an oven mitt. Normally I wouldn't, but err on the side of safety today. Alright, so there's one. And the nutritional facts on spaghetti squash are pretty amazing. So 1 cup only has 60 calories. It has 4 grams of fiber. Has about 1 gram of protein in it, which isn't much, but it's something. And there's no saturated fats. No fats whatsoever. So if you're worried about your heart getting too much saturated fat in your diet, eat some spaghetti squash. It's delicious. I was a skeptic, believe me. I'm going to get the other one and we'll finish this off lickety split. So I added the rest of our spaghetti squash here and I'm just folding it in, incorporating it so all the veggies get mixed in, and it is done. So we're going to top this off with some scallions and we're going to plate it up. So stick around, we'll show you how it's done. Okay, so I added an additional ½ a tablespoon of curry powder. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt because outside of the no soy sauce, there's no salt in this dish, and I knew right from the get-go Doris was going to say it needs salt, but I figured I'd let her taste it first. It's now done. thank God. And we're going to get ready to eat. Okay, so here you have it, the finished product. I sprinkled a couple green onions on top. We got our spaghetti squash, our tofu, red peppers, onions, and obviously some curry powder to go along with it. So there's Singapore noodles made with spaghetti squash. If you like these recipes, please click subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Be safe, be well, enjoy, be happy, and welcome to 2021. Hopefully it'll be a better year.